Portal. Gauntlet. I like that. Gauntlet.
Okay.
Gauntlet, mate. I started on I'll Be Back. Lots of uh, familiar chords and all that we had just been looking
And
at.
key, right.
Yeah, same key and all. And so there are a number of things that were the timing of a bunch of stuff was really was a challenge. Not sort of the body of it in general, like just the strumming thing, and I'll strum through the pieces of this in a second. But working in the intro timing was probably that's a big challenge.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is really just this four beat, four note thing,
Yeah.
right? And what beat does it start on?
Well, that turned out to be the challenging part
Okay.
because the little piece, the little I think that is I think that's the and of four.
Really? Yeah, absolutely. That's great. So it's similar to "I Need You" in that the accent, you land on that chord. It's different because in "I Need You," but the accent is on the end of four, and then you don't play one. It's like that. That's this syncopated sound of something coming in on bum 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 bum. The beat comes in right behind when you hit that note, and
Yeah.
that note has to continue ringing. You're not going to do bum 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 bum. You can't hit one when you've got this accent on the and of four. So the next stroke is going to be another up. Oh no, it's not even. It's even later than that. So in this one, you don't hit the next stroke till two. In other words, they're not going to strum it again until beat two of that measure. I think. See if this sounds what you think you should hear. And in the lesson, did I have it with only one note at the fourth fret or two?
No, you had, that was another question.
Okay.
um, you had it an open B,
Yeah.
but I initially that was sort of what I was asking myself is why am I not playing?
That's how I would play it. I think in the lesson I just tried to point out that that second note can either be the open second string or the fourth fret of the third string. And I might have even said it's probably easier to hit the open second string, which is absolutely not true. It's easier to hit the third string there.
Yeah,
And what that also does is it kind of covers you because if you hit the second string as part of either of those, it's fine. If the open second string is hit with either on the with the other B
yeah,
or with the E, it's okay. As opposed to if you're trying to hit the open string and you get this, if you get that open third string in there, you just wreck the whole thing.
yeah.
So yeah, I hope in the lesson I would have said it's much safer and better to go with two notes at the fourth fret rather than one. And I might have.
I don't remember you doing that, but that's
Yeah, no, I'm thinking back
because in
now.
the tab it's the open.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's just the open.
yeah.
Before so anyway, well that's good because that way I can adapt to that.
And it's not really any harder to get two fingers here than getting one. Getting your third and fourth fingers there, those fingers go together like that all the time. So it's not like
Yeah. Actually, it might be easier, honestly,
yeah,
because it seems to just spatially,
yeah.
as opposed to one finger that's the
You know what?
first string.
Yeah, there's if you're only going with one finger, there's a good chance you're going to put it on the wrong string.
Yeah,
If you go with both, it's
yeah,
less likely that's going to happen.
yeah.
And
The aim is
much,
better.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So
much easier on the right hand to.
yeah, and actually, in the I'm looking at your tab page, which I lost the second one, but here's one. Um, in your tab page, you do hit one
Okay.
on of the second measure.
Oh.
See, hit that open A.
Oh, right. We put a bass note there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
where I was. Yeah, okay. So I was. That's where I'm the timing of the whole thing. Um, oop, that's the wrong bass note.
Yeah, but that's it. That's the right mechanics of what you're trying to do there.
Yeah. So yeah, the mechanics are what, and then now here's question number two. Now we're heading to A minor.
Oh, okay. So you're going to do that twice. What you just did, like we hear that little thing twice, I think, in the beginning, don't we?
No,
Oh, it's only once.
no.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Let me. All right. I need to listen to that real quick.
Okay.
Because I would almost always do that twice.
It seems like it should be done twice.
Right. And then the third time would go to A minor.
The A minor.
Oh, you're right. It's only once. Yeah. So, let me check one more thing now. Get this out of here. Yeah. Okay, so my tab is right. It does it only once, obviously. And yeah, the second time you have to land on A minor on that and. So there's no A major in there, which is what that tab showed. It showed that the second time, yeah, so we got this. And that's harder. Oh no, it's not. All you have to do, so on the first one, you can hang on to these notes right up until there, because it's real easy to get that bar at the first fret without this. But the last note was still the open E, right? So when you're going to A minor, you have to let go of these sooner. You know, as you're hitting that E, you should be on your way to the A minor to make that happen.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, like that was too long.
Even earlier than that.
And there's another reason for using the open B is if I only have one finger here and I've got those two open notes there, I can let go of this F sharp a little sooner and get there. So, you know, that probably that probably entered my decision when I made that lesson about why to use the open B rather than the fretted B, and it was probably because of that makes it easier to get to the A minor. So I might do one each way because I really like the sound better of the fretted B.
Yeah.
And once you've established that, anybody listening will not hear that you did it differently the second time, and who's going to care? But so I would do the second one maybe. See, that was much easier. I can let go. I can move much sooner and get to the A minor because we really do need to hear that A minor on that up on the and of four, just like we heard the A major.
Right? So when you went to the A minor there, when you so the second time around, it's when you came to here, did you fret the whole A minor?
Yeah, you pretty much got to get it all there at once because that up really has to be across like at least 3 strings. Yeah, you got to get a lot of that chord.
Okay, so it's not selectively. I was sort of focused on.
Oh, right. Like I might have it real specific, like just 2 notes or something.
Yeah.
No, play more notes. Have the whole chord down because it's easy enough to slap down a whole A minor in one motion. You know.
Yeah, that was the thing. I couldn't figure out whether. Yeah. Okay. So so then where we are then is.
Yeah. Then you just got to really work on landing that bass note on beat 1, getting all the way down to the 5th string. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so and that's just there's just one measure of A minor there.
Yeah, and that's right where the vocal comes in.
Yeah.
Those first two words, are on the four and. They sync right up with the last two notes. And four is the open E, and then
Hmm.
the and is the upstroke on the A minor,
Right.
and those fit right with the words. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And now, do I just have a full G chord there in that second measure, or do I have it hanging on to any notes from the A minor chord?
You've got that.
Oh, right, with an open. Yeah. Um,
And we played something where we're here, and so for whatever reason, this seems to want to enter the equation for me, but
yeah.
I don't know. It probably shouldn't,
Probably shouldn't. You know what? Let me get that page up here on my screen so I can
but
look at
okay.
it a little more carefully. Lessons. I'll be back. Yeah. Yeah. So all of those chords um, keep the E string open.
Keep the
Right.
E string open,
Right.
right?
So that's why we have a G6, and that's right. So leaving having adding an E to a G chord, we call it G6,
Right,
right? And then we keep that high E string open for the F chord, which makes it a major 7,
right.
right? Um, what are you thinking? Or what am I
Well,
confused?
I guess I'm again. My asking back on the G6
Oh,
here.
okay, good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Throw a D into a G6.
no, we don't want that D there because it really does clash with the E because of the E being in the melody, and
Ah, yeah. Okay.
and yeah, yeah. So we and if we do that, then we don't really hear the B because the melody to the song. They sing this in harmony, which is so cool. But one of the melodies goes. Wait. Yeah, the lower melody goes E to A. You know, if you break my heart, I'll go. So actually, they're singing a C on the G chord,
Ah,
and so that's why I asked you, do I have any other notes down on the G? Because sometimes what I would do to make this, I recorded this on my second album, my Beatles album, back in like 1988 or 89 or something like that. And when I play it instrumentally, um, I'm kind of like picking out two melodies there, although
yeah.
it's mostly that's what I hear as the main melody. You know, if you break my heart, I'll go. But that C is on the G chord. You hear that?
Yep.
So we that's another reason we don't want that D in there because that will really obscure the melody, you know.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so,
Good.
I mean, if we were to freeze this, if we were to take like a cross or a slice of this, at one point we're hearing this chord, but we're hearing this note. It's like whoa, that I'm singing that C over a G chord,
Yeah.
and so that's what we call in this case it's not part of the chord, and it's not a suspended 4 because they're strumming a B. We're hearing a B in the
Yeah.
guitar, and the vocal is singing a C. So we really just consider it a non-harmonic note, meaning it's a note that creates some tension, and it has to resolve. And that's exactly what it does. They hit it twice. C C B.
Right.
You know, yeah. Well, this is still before the F chord. We're still not there yet.
But we're still okay. We're still
This is
here.
on the G chord. So if you strum that G chord, the melody there is two C's. It's C C B G. Yeah, and then the next melody note is the A. that is on the F chord. This is on the F major
Ah.
7 now. So this would be a good little sideline exercise for you. Is figure out the melody. Find all those notes.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it first of all, this is really odd because these 4 chords are all from the key of A minor. The A minor, the G, the F major 7. But then the E major that it lands on is common to both the keys of A minor and A. And that's how they come out of that E chord and land back on an A major chord, which is one of the reasons this song is just so exceptional and unusual, is that they kind of flit back and forth effortlessly between the 2 keys of A minor and A major. This section always starts on A minor and then the phrase ends on A major, and
Right.
then the other 2 sections are all in A major. So it's just these guys just didn't know what the hell they were doing.
But they did it.
But they did it, and now here we are 60 years later, treating it like it's giving it the respect it deserves.
Right.
Is probably a better way to describe it. Yeah, I mean that's this song is just one example of which there are hundreds of
Yeah.
ridiculous things they did. So
So we move through. We go to the F major 7, baseball grip F major
you
7.
got to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, we took a new. And then the E. And then when we come back to the A, let's see, I'm trying to think of the melody now because
I'll be back. That takes us to A. So the I'll be back is the E. What I just sang.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. What?
So the melody over the E is I'll be back again.
Okay.
And the again is the A chord.
Okay. So when we go to the A, is there any fill in there?
Yeah, you got to come back with that.
But are we going to
I don't have that in the tab. Okay, let me double check that because I would always do that again. There is do like the intro again. We come out of this. I'll be back again. 'Cause but now let's go listen to them because I may have just made that up. Nylon string guitar in there. Do that intro fill. It's
Okay.
not as obvious as it was in the beginning, but we definitely heard this. I'll be back again. 'Cause and I bet it even happens again just like it did in the intro. Oh no, it didn't happen that time. Okay, definitely didn't happen there, overlapping the vocal into the next A minor.
Okay.
So
Just play the front half of that
yeah, so you only play it once, landing on A,
on the A.
and then you don't play it, or they didn't play it again going into the A minor like they did in the intro.
Right.
Okay, but there would be nothing wrong with doing that. And if we listen a little further, maybe later in the song, they do have that little fill in there leading to A minor. But they definitely did it in the intro that way, and then maybe made a conscious decision here not to put it in there. And you know what? And this probably could have even been done in the mix later. They decided they didn't want it there, and I bet they recorded it. John is not really good about doing. Well, it wouldn't have been intentional, I guess, is maybe what I'm saying. Attention to detail was not his forte, and it could just be that with many of these things, and I could look this up. They also they might have done 16 takes of this, and then edited some of them together one way or another, or the guitar part from this one. This early, they weren't really doing that. They didn't have this serious they didn't have like 8 tracks happening yet, so they couldn't. They didn't really even get that till after Sgt. Pepper. So by Sgt. Pepper, they were usually using 2 4-track recorders to kind of combine into one 8-track. So in these early days, they really had to do stuff more live and and there wasn't as much an opportunity to overdub things and stuff. So or fix them. You know, if one guy screwed up, they had to record everybody playing their parts at the same time, usually without vocals. So most of these early recordings, when they did mix, which is why they didn't even really care about making stereo versions back then, because with the recording technology on the early albums, in order for them to make it stereo, they pretty much had to put the guitar, the instruments in one channel and the voices in the other. So the stereo versions of their very early songs are that, you know, archaic now by nowadays standards. You know,
Right.
and they also, I don't know if you know, you may already know this, but they would work and slave over the mixes of it. You know, how loud to have everything, how to, you know, how exactly how to balance things. But they're mixing it for mono, so they never had to make a decision of what's going on in this channel, what's going on in that channel. And in the early days, they didn't take making a stereo version even seriously. They just threw those together, kind of. So they might spend 3 or 4 days, you know, doing a mono mix, and then a half an hour throwing together a stereo mix just for the heck of it. And so they didn't. And so most people consider that the albums, all the way up to the White Album, that the mono mixes are much better, and frequently you can hear the instruments much clearer, which seems ludicrous. You know, it's just that stereo was still so new that they didn't really understand what they could do with it. You know, but then when they made CDs, they did go back to like the original tapes and kind of fix these things. But for many years, a mono version of the White Album was considered like the holy grail compared to the version that we got released here in the United States. Right. And you know, when I finally got a hold of one, I could see why. It's like, oh my God, these things, they sound so much fresher and crisper and everything. It defies logic by our ears nowadays. But
Right.
So which is why when they put out, so they always made mono. They came out with like a whole package of all their albums remastered. I don't know, in the 2010s maybe or something like that. And there was a whole mono set and a stereo set, you know, and it was like $300 if you wanted to have the whole double set things. And you could have mine if you want. No, that's. But yeah, it's.
Huh. So they when so the ones that we're listening to right now, the ones that you just brought up, that's stereo.
Let me listen to it again. I think so. This is like a remastered version from 2009, and the sound on this is fabulous. You know, it's like the acoustic guitar is really clear, the vocals are really clear. It's the but like the original LPs of these. This is from A Hard Day's Night, and which you know, A Hard Day's Night in the U.S. was different than the Hard Day's Night than the album in that we're used to now with the CD. Because both with Help and A Hard Day's Night, the American ones had only the songs that were in the movie, and then you know, instrumental stuff from the movie too. Well, none of that was in the British copies. So you know, and that's why we had different albums. Like we had an album called Something New that included a lot of stuff from the Beatles. I mean, I don't know if you remember that red record cover that was like their second or their third or fourth album, I guess, you know. But anyway, so the first 7 albums were quite different in the United States than they were in England, and it wasn't until like Sgt. Pepper that they were actually the same sets of songs.
Right. Okay.
Anyway, but yeah, okay.
So
Back to work. Sorry,
we were rolling through here. So after to play the fill in the A, and then it rolls back, do that verse again. There's 2 verses there, I think. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And actually, I kind of consider that one verse. And so what I should have in the music is a first and second ending, where the first ending of that second to last measure, that A, when it gets back to the A chord on beat 3, it comes back in with that little fill.
Okay.
And lands on the A major chord, which is now the last measure.
Right.
And then no fill in that measure where the repeat sign is. It just kicks right back to A minor.
Right.
Yeah, Yeah. Oh, you know what? We don't actually need first and second endings because I'm sure the second time around they have that fill in that first measure of A again too,
Okay.
and just not in the second measure where it's going to F sharp minor this time for the chorus.
Right. Right. And it's the same fill though when you go
Yeah. Yeah.
to F sharp minor.
No, no. So there is nothing going to the F sharp minor.
Oh, okay. There's
You
nothing.
wouldn't
Okay.
do the dot dot dot. You would never. You wouldn't do that going any place except to A or A minor.
Yeah.
Does
Okay.
it in A minor in the intro, but then as we found here that they don't do it going to A minor in the what I'm calling the second half of the verse.
Right. 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 It's like okay. Okay. But then when it goes to F sharp minor, we're see we're on that for a couple bars,
Right.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Careful, careful. Fix that.
And then that rolls into the let's see, that rolls into the half measure.
Right. Yeah.
And that's just a half. That last E is just a half measure though, right?
Right. Right. So there's D and E back and forth for 2 beats. 5 things. 5 sets of 2 beats.
5 halves. Because then you have to,
Right.
right?
Yeah. And that goes into so actually, what are we calling that next part? Oh, okay. So all I did in the tab here, I didn't. This doesn't show the arrangement really at all, right? Like that. Okay, because that chorus is going back to another verse,
Right.
and get up the chart. Did you print up the chart too?
Yeah. I do have the chart.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, yeah. So what I was just wondering about here is, and now I got it clear in my head again, is kind of being up in the air about what we're calling a verse or what we're calling a half a verse.
Okay.
So see now looking at the chart, the verse is 2 lines, 2 sets of what we have. Like, it includes the repeat that I have in the tab, right?
Yeah.
And what I wasn't clear about was when they came out of the chorus, I do. You know what? And I wouldn't even hit bass notes in there. I would just have a big strum on the chord on beat 1, on the F sharp minor and stuff like that, because we really need to hear that F sharp minor chord like right out of the gate. And the same thing with the B minor and the E's. So just it, and then the B minor, then the E, and now A minor. Now we're into verse 2, right? And
Yeah.
verse 2 is twice through the same chords, just like verse 1 was.
Right.
Right. And where the door I was knocking on in my head just a minute ago was that if we're going to call a verse, if we're going to call what we have before the chorus 2 verses,
Yeah.
like just 1 line, and then but we do 2 of those.
Yeah.
Also, it also would make musical sense for the next verse to be only half as long as the first one, almost like an AABA layout. And that's
Okay.
not what we have here. We have what we're going to call the A. The verse is, let me look back at that now. Yeah, the verse is 6 measures long twice.
Yeah.
Right. So the verse is 12 measures long,
Okay.
and then the chorus is an odd amount. Right. It's what do I see there? 6.5 measures.
Yeah.
Right. And then we do a second verse that is just as long as the first.
Right.
It's the same 12 measures. And looking
Right.
at the words, that's our verse about you could find better things to do than to break my heart again. We have this time I will try to show that I'm not trying to pretend. We have the fill here and not here. because we're heading into the bridge now,
Okay.
right? So similar to going into the chorus, we'll have one fill at the end of the first A measure, but not at the end of the second because we're going somewhere else.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. 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 And then the somewhere else is the right.
Yep. The bridge. Yeah.
The bridge. So when we're doing the bridge, same thing. No bass notes. Just
Yeah. No bass notes.
oh, that's okay. That's hard to hit for me.
Good. So there's something you got to practice. Getting from C sharp minor to F sharp minor.
Yeah. That's yeah. Okay. I got.
Careful.
When it doesn't sound right, it doesn't sound right.
And you know what? So what I would practice through this whole bar chord thing is slow it down a little bit. I mean, I'm playing it here at the speed that I'm hearing the record, and so
Yeah.
so practice doing that a little slower, and make sure that thought that you would. The first change is relatively easy because you're going from B minor to C sharp minor. Okay, but you still need to be on the move at least by the last up, if not even the last down. So it could be this. Here's what if I'm on the move on the last up, that last up will be kind of dead, and then I'm going to nail that. That'll sound like this. Now I kind of emphasized it so you could hear the click in there,
Yeah.
but in the real world, it's not going to be that obvious. See, it was a lot more in the background right there, and you don't even notice it unless you're like putting a microscope on it, because before you can even register what happened, you heard the new chord on beat one.
Right.
And that's the same thing you want to hear when you're going from the C sharp minor to the F sharp minor. You know what? I'm going to try one more thing, and this time I'm going to kill it on the down, so you'll hear two dead ones. And see, you could barely tell that that's what happened.
Yeah.
And now if I do the same thing from the C sharp minor to the F sharp minor. So in super slow motion, what you heard was kind of like this. So you just heard noise.
Yeah.
But the F sharp minor, same thing. It was nailed right there on the down before you could say, what was that? So,
right.
And now like in real time, I'll do the same thing. I'll kill it on the down. So there'll be two deads on both of them in like real time.
Okay.
And you probably won't be able to tell well, you will now because it's like, I got you kind of uber focused on this, right? Keep working on those bar chord changes, and make sure you're moving sooner than you think is right. Almost,
And you went to the B7 out of the bar as opposed to the.
I would almost always, and I think the reason I probably had the open one in there is because that's probably what I heard them do. There's a few little subtle things on hearing the difference between these two B7s. Actually, the big one is whether you hear this note on the second string, whether you hear the D sharp up here, that makes this B7 a little bit more dramatic or intense, let's say, than this B7. So listen to the difference here. I'll go the F sharp minor, I'll do two measures, and the open B7. I'll do the other one. I don't know if you can tell, but it's
Yeah, I can hear.
but it's just a little bit more intense. The bar.
Okay, B7.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah. So is B7 in this key? Is B7 in this key?
We're in the, well, let's see, we're in the key of A.
Yeah.
We're in the key of A. And so B7, no, it's not.
Right, because we already played this
B
section
minor.
starting on B minor, right?
Yeah,
And so B minor is the normal chord 2 in the
right,
key of A, right?
right.
But when we have a seventh chord, kind of a renegade seventh chord, we expect that is in there acting as a dominant chord, a secondary dominant, right?
Right.
So what we expect to hear after B7 is the chord that it's 5 of,
Right.
which is what?
And so we expect to hear, let's see, that it's 5 of. And so that would be E.
Yeah. And in I Need You, that's exactly what happens. George does exactly what he should with a B7 when it gets to, let me think here. D, that's when it hurts me. Feeling like this, I just can't go on anymore. So the B7 comes in. Now we're already on E. This is a little bit unusual, but again, this was like rookie songwriting for him because he was on E, then he went to the dominant chord of E and came back to E.
Okay.
That doesn't usually happen. Usually you would go, there'd be like his song there could have done something like this. I'll take. He could have gone to like F sharp minor there. The melody would have to be different. And F sharp minor sets up B7 better because if B7 is 5, like in this case it's 5 of E, F sharp minor is 2. If we were in the key of E, F sharp minor, and a 2 to 5 thing is peanut butter and jelly to songwriters. I mean, it's like it's an everyday thing, and so that chorus in I Need You could have gone da, da, to E to that's a better chord progression than what he did.
Yeah.
Or okay, I'm going out on limbs I shouldn't, but I do it all the time. So
Yeah.
but anyhow, so what happens here is even unusual. This is not right what they did, but the B7 still comes in a great spot, right? So we got the B minor, C sharp minor, sorry, there's only one F sharp minor, right? So the B7 and if we didn't know this song, we'd expect to hear this. We'd expect an E there to be like a cadence, a resting point on chord 5 to let us get back to the A minor section.
Okay.
But this is just another tiny piece of the brilliance of this song is they'd already introduced this idea of they got to 5 in the verse or in the first chorus,
Right.
and bounced it back and forth with 4 to kind of like prolong the suspense until we went back home again.
Yeah. Okay.
So they introduced this weird thing that we're on 5 and we're not just going straight home to 1 now. We're gonna drop down to 4 and back to 5 again and back to 4 again and back to 5 again before we come back in there, right? So this is also something that adds up to the making this thing out of balance, out of square.
Yeah.
As far as we saw the 6.5 measures in that section because of that, right? And so now they take that one step further. This B7 doesn't even start on E. It goes to D instead. And you should be able to hear that this does not resolve it, right? I'm going to go back to the B minor. Or I don't want you to hear the melody, right? We expect to hear this take us to there. It doesn't. There's a little sidestep. It's like, wait, that's wrong.
Mhm.
And you hear how that didn't seem like it connected.
Yeah, it did not.
You
Yeah.
know, and so that's what I mean. It's like they took a detour here to the D, and then gave us the E to D half measure bounces. Exactly the way it went in the other part. The same 2.5 measure, the five half measures bounce, to bail us out of the hole they dug themselves into with that D chord.
Yeah.
Just
And so,
brilliant.
yeah, this actually can hear some of these questions, but I can't articulate them. So this actually is when you come off of that bounce, when you come back to the E for the fifth piece of the bounce, and the third time you're at E there,
Yeah.
it does. It, my mind told me I need to square that up.
Yeah, like you want to
My
do
mind tells me I want to stay there for
right.
a
But you know
whole
what?
day.
If you were singing it, you would feel that vocal phrase pulls you like right away out of there. But so if you're just strumming it and not hearing the melody, it does sound like if I do this, I got a D, and I'm gonna do E to D, E to D, E, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah,
But they're
that's
singing,
right.
I've got a big surprise. Whoa, whoa, you.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, yeah,
See, so
yeah.
when you hear that vocal line in there, it's
Yep.
like, nope, it has to go that way. There's no room for 2 extra beats.
Yep. Yep. Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna go through and try and find the melody all the way throughout this. So
Yeah,
that'll be
yeah,
the thing, and see if I can figure out where make sure I understand where the melody syncs up with the vocals here,
yeah,
or
yeah,
that would address some of those questions or answers.
yeah, yeah. Um, and so again, the way I hear the melody in the beginning is it's E to A, right? But
Mhm.
later on, we hear it in harmony. Uh, anyway, I forgot what happened right there. So it can get confusing later if you hear more than one voice. Whichever one comes out in your head the clearest, it generally is the lower one that would be considered the melody.
Okay.
Which is that one that starts now when it gets into the chorus and the bridge, there's no harmony, I don't think. So when we hear I wanna go. So there's kind of hear that melody note.
Mhm.
The B minor part is a little tricky, and as far as finding the melody note. The
Mhm.
melody note they sing ah
Yeah.
is going to be hard to find.
Okay.
It's not in the chord.
On the chord.
There's
Okay.
the hint.
Let's
Yeah.
well, I'll search for that then. Okay.
Yeah. So there.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, and there might be other places where that kind of thing happens, but
Okay. All
yeah.
right.
So, well, and we already saw that we saw them singing a non-harmonic note, like on that G chord, they're singing a C, right? So
Right.
so they extend that kind of technique or tool into other parts of the song, in particular on the B minor.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when I'm picking out this melody, um, and finding the melody against the words here, should I be writing this down? Should I be like just
Um, you know
looking
what?
at it?
If if you have trouble remembering it, write it down.
Yeah.
Get out of here. No. I think it'd be really good just practice for you to write it out in Guitar Pro and try to get all the rhythm, right.
Okay.
God, something. This Norton stuff is trying to get my attention. Hang on a second. Jeez. Okay, I gotta disable that. All this stuff to protect you from hackers is just
Yeah.
keeps keeps thinking somebody's trying to break into your computer. I don't think so, but anyway. Um, so um, yeah, so see what you can do about writing out the melody, and again, the first two notes are the last eighth notes of a pickup measure, like where they'd be
Yeah.
four and it's that do do do, and then we have a lot of quarter notes there. Do 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 do. Do, 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 do. A few ups in there, a few notes happening
Yeah.
on the hands.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Follow all that, you think?
This will be a challenge, but it'll be
Yeah, yeah. Well,
fun.
good. I'm glad this song grabbed you because, as you can tell, just from the way I talk about it and stuff, it's
Oh
such a
yeah.
masterpiece.
Oh, it is a masterpiece, and it's, as you said, it's sort of the unknown, or one of the lesser known, or lesser recognized, perhaps because of the title and all. So
Yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Okay.
all right.